All right, so Captain America, the Mandalorian, and Madam Web walk into a bar. That's as far as I've gotten so far with the joke, but I imagine the punchline is going to be quite hilarious. For now, let's talk about these three in a brand new film of the romantic persuasion. That's different. Hell, I honestly can't even remember the last time a romantic melodrama has hit theaters. And while granted it's not something I typically rush out to watch, this is Adam Does Movies after all. I have to do all the movies. And so here I am with a review for Materialists. Before I reveal whether or not Dakota Johnson's able to rival her powerhouse performance from Pepsi Web, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe and the notification bell if you're on YouTube, that way more of me will show up in your feed. You can also sub to me though on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I like to diversify. As for our Miss Dakota Johnson, it seems like she's going back to the well. Remember those fantastic 50 Shades of Grey films? I'm using fantastic in an incredibly sarcastic way. She returns to form, once again dating a very wealthy, powerful man, played by Pedro Pascal. But our Lucy's gonna find herself in a bit of a love triangle because not only is Pedro here ready to sweep her off her feet, she's got another guy in the wings, our Human Torch, Chris Evans, who is a lot more down on his luck, doesn't really have a cent to his name, but he's a struggling actor just trying to make it in the big city. And you know what? Going for your dreams, damn it, that's worth something to someone. So, I mean, not in this world, but to her it is. Now, if you recall, like 30 seconds ago, I said romance movies aren't really my bag, baby. I don't hate them though. It's just a little bit lower on the totem pole, right underneath things like action, horror, comedy, adventure, sci-fi, really anything else. But that doesn't mean I can't find the joy and the appreciation in a film like this, and you know what? You might be able to too. Because The Materialists, not a bad little watch. I don't think it's this amazing movie by any means, but I had a decent time getting through this one. And Dakota Johnson, for as much shit as I've given her for Pepsi Web and those 50 Shades of Grey movies, she kind of works in this role. Her little mousy voice and her delicateness play off well with this character. She is a matchmaker in the movie. She checks boxes for people looking for love in all the hopefully right places. They come to her with tears in their eyes saying, "Ma'am, would you please find me that one true person I can spend the rest of my life with?" And this leads her to ask a series of probing questions about what they're looking for in a partner. And once in a while, a man comes along, simply referred to as a unicorn, that will basically sweep every type of woman off their feet. Attractive, tons of money, over 6 feet tall, won't cheat on the person, doesn't have a drinking problem, and wouldn't you know it, Pedro Pascal's Harry fits that criteria. But he's not on the market to be fixed up because he already has his eyes set on the matchmaker herself. Okay, things are getting set in motion. But as I mentioned, like a minute back, if you remember that, our Chris Evans character, John, we're going very basic with these names here, as we often do with romantic films, he has a history with Lucy. They used to date, and he's kind of coming out of the shadows, hoping to maybe win her over once more. Speaking of checking boxes, ladies, imagine what, say, a middle-aged guy who reviews movies on YouTube would really bring to the table. How many boxes would that guy check off? All of them. All of them. Materialists is an R-rated, hour and 45-minute flick written and directed by Celine Song. As for it being rated R, I'm truly not sure why. There must be some swearing. I'm so completely desensitized by movies that an R rating seems really tame to put on this one. There's no sex, there's no nudity, there must be swearing, because I truly cannot remember anything where I was like, whoa, we better put an R rating on this film, cover the eyes for the little ones. There's really no naughty talk. There's just nothing here for the ladies that like spice in their meals. Okay, if you're reading those ACOTAR books, you're maybe going to be disappointed coming to this movie, especially with Dakota Johnson really bringing the soccer moms out all those years back for the 50 Shades franchise. This is very tame in comparison. But instead of all that nonsense, what you are going to get is some sharp writing here. Not all the way through the film. There's a couple rough patches, but for the most part, I thought the dialogue was very solid. There are some really strong back and forth conversations where you just have two actors really showcasing some of their talents. And Dakota Johnson's there as well. I like to pick on her because she can take it. Okay, she's a sassy, no-nonsense actress. And I'm here for her. I'm supporting you, Dakota. Now, some of my favorite scenes, seriously though, are with her and Pedro Pascal. I thought they had a really great rapport. I like some of the witty banter. I like the way that they kind of dissect relationships and marriage, and there is this hopeful spirit to the whole movie, even when it comes off a little bit cynical and dour at times. I actually got a little inspiration from this thing. I've been happily married for many, many years, and things do get tough at times, especially when you throw kids in the equation. You keep adding bills and responsibilities, and I know, again, you're thinking, Adam, come on, you're a mid-tier YouTube critic. How could you have any financial stresses? It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. Moving on. Back to the dialogue for a second. There is some witty stuff in here. This is not a laugh out loud movie. This isn't knock you over the head with some slapstick bullshit. There's no like pratfalls or anything. But the audience was still getting some chuckles here and there. They appreciated the finer drink that was put in front of them. If you're going to this thinking it's going to be a 10 Things I Hate About You thing, or if you thought this was going to be Captain America versus the Mandalorian fighting for Pepsi Web, that's not what this is. And I call her Pepsi Web because there was so much Pepsi product placement in that shitty movie that I should probably have let off with that. I forget that sometimes people come to the channel and don't know who I am. Subscribe to a mysterious stranger. On the production side of things, I like the way this is filmed. It's got a very sterile color palette to it, percolating throughout the movie. Gives it kind of a cold atmosphere, which is definitely what they're going for here. Lucy is a cold, calculated individual. That is her job. So she looks at each relationship as an arrangement, as a business transaction, and not something lovey-dovey, because she has convinced herself that that's the proper way to do this in order to make it last. The music was a weak link for me. There really was nothing here that stood out as far as the compositions went. There was a score in the background. It never really makes itself known. It kind of stays with the flow of the movie, but it doesn't, elevate any of the material at all, which isn't the end of the world because the three leads do a well enough job keeping things moving. That said, I do think the final act falls a little bit short of anything too great. There's nothing exciting or really like, oh wow, definitely need to watch this again in the future. I could, but it wouldn't really bring anything new to the table or really be exciting the second time. It's just a nice, wholesome flick we really don't get anymore because financially it's just not viable. You only get that one hit on the big screen. Box office budgets get really big nowadays, and there's no second shelf life because there's no DVD sales. Streaming, I don't think, makes studios much of anything. So they really have to make back that investment on the big screen. And if my theater's any indication, they might do okay. Granted, it was a Friday night, but the seats were pretty much filled up and people were having a good time. And you know what? I had a fine time as well. I don't think you need to rush out and see this one. If this isn't your genre, no reason to start here. But if you have a date, you want to go out, this will get the job done, fellas. All right, let me know your thoughts. Have you seen The Materialists already? Do you agree this was a fine little welcome change of pace from all the big budget crap coming out this summer? Or did you think it missed the mark completely and it was just a dud? Well, that's fair. Either way, that's fair. Again, I would appreciate if you did me the favor, it's free of charge for you, just to hit that like on the video and maybe sub to the show, Adam Does Movies, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. That way you can see more of me in your feed. And I think I'm a nice change of pace too from all the other middle-aged white guys reviewing movies on YouTube. None of those. See you next time.